Here are 10 worst torture methods. Number 1. Saw torture. In this method, the victim is hung upside down so that the blood will rush to their head and keep them conscious during the long torture. The torturer would then saw through the victim's body until they were completely sawed in half. Most were cut only to the abdomen to keep the prolonged agony. The rack is a torture device consisting of a rectangular, usually wooden frame slightly raised from the ground with a roller at one or both ends. The victim's ankles are fastened to one roller and the wrists are chained to the other. As the interrogator progresses, a handle and ratchet mechanism attached to the top roller are used to very gradually increase the tension on the chain, inducing excruciating pain, eventually leading up to sufferer's joint being dislocated and separated as loud popping noises made by snapping cartilage, ligaments, and bones. The Brazen Bone. Also known as Sicilian Bowl, it was designed in ancient Greece. A solid piece of brass was cast with a door on the side that could be opened and latched. The victim would be placed inside the bowl and a fire set underneath it until the metal becomes yellow as it was heated. The victim would then be slowly roasted to death, all while screaming in agonizing pain. The bowl was purposely designed to amplify these screams and make them sound like the blowing of a bowl. Hanged, drawn, and quartered. During medieval times, the penalty for high treason in England was to be hanged, drawn, and quartered in public, and though it was abolished in 1814, it has been responsible for the deaths of thousands of people. In this torture technique, the victim is dragged in a wooden frame called a hurdle to the place of execution. They would then be hanged by the neck for a short period of time until they were near death, followed by disempalement and caceration, where the entrails and genitals are burned in front of the victim. The victim would be then divided into 4 separate parts and beheaded. The wooden horse. One of the torture devices during the Spanish Inquisition and medieval ages, this is probably one of the most gruesome of them all. The victim is put astride naked on a donkey-like apparatus, which is actually a vertical wooden board with a sharp V-wedge on top of it. After that, the executioner would add varying weights to the victim's feet, while finally the wedge slices through the victim's body. Judas Cradle. The victim would presumably be placed in a waist harness above the pyramid-shaped seat, with the point inserted into their anus or vagina, then very slowly lowered by ropes. The subject is tortured by intense pressure and stretching of the orifice, eventually succumbing to tears in muscle tissue that could turn septic and kill them from infection or simply being impaled. Crucifixion. Even practiced in some countries today, it is one of the most well-known execution methods due to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. It is a deliberately slow and painful execution where the condemned person is tied or nailed to a large wooden cross and left to hang until they die, which usually takes days. Guillotine. One of the most notorious forms of execution, the guillotine was made of a razor-sharp blade attached to a rope. The victim's head was placed in the middle of the frame as the blade dropped, severing the victim's head from the body. Since this was considered to be an instant and painful event, at least less painful than others, it was often considered the most humane method of execution. Neck torture. Humiliating and painful, this punishment was something of an endurance test where the victim would be hooked up to a neck device, either made of metal or wood, which prevents the victim from adjusting into a comfortable position. The cruelty of this punishment lies within the fact that they were unable to lie down, eat, or lower their head for days. Impalement. In the 15th century Romania, the victims was forced to sit on a sharp and thick pole. The pole was then raised upright. The victim was left to slide down the pole with their own weight. It could take the victims 3 days to die using this method, and it has been said that Val the Impaler once did this to 20,000 people, all while enjoying a meal. Rest in peace to all the people that died from these torture methods. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like this video. And also I'm looking for a catchphrase for this channel, so if you have any ideas, please drop them in the comments, and if I like it, I will use it and I will give you a shout out. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video. That's gonna be tomorrow, hopefully.